I'd like to invite you to join me in singing this little song. Maestro, would you give us the key of C? I believe you were singing in. You know it. Twinkle, twinkle, little star, how I wonder what you are. Up above the world so high, like a diamond in the sky. Twinkle, twinkle, little star, how I wonder what you are. Is there anyone here who hasn't had one of those moments when you were sitting out in the desert, perhaps, or by the lake or by the ocean on a night when it was clear and there were thousands and thousands and billions of stars out there? I know for me there's one such moment that sticks out. I was in, about 20 years ago, I had the good fortune to be invited to go on a raft trip through the Grand Canyon. And it was my job just to play guitar on this 2-week trip. Good job, one of my all-time favorite gigs. And lots of memorable moments getting to sing in the Grand Canyon. And that time when we were in Lava Falls and the boat was perpendicular and the guide fell out of the boat. And it was one of those trips where everybody was rowing, you know, and I was the other staffer in the boat, so everybody turned to me, "What do we do now, Rudi?" I don't know, sing? Yeah, lots of great moments on that trip, but the one moment I remember the best is the first night in the Grand Canyon. Been rowing all day, and so you fall asleep very quickly when the sun goes down. And I remember waking up, and it couldn't have been more than 10 o'clock. I was already wide awake because the starshine was so bright. It was just dazzlingly bright. And we were at the bottom of the Grand Canyon, and so there was this big bowl of stars all around. And I had this awareness of being in the womb of the mother. And way down there on river level, and these huge sides of the canyon, and then this canopy of stars so bright. And for the first time, I could palpably feel that the stars and I were one and the same. We now know that even at a place like that in the Grand Canyon or in the middle of the Gobi Desert, when you see just all those gajillions of stars, really the person with the 20/20 vision under the clearest of circumstances only sees 6,000 stars. And we now know there's way more than 6,000 stars. I mean, for a long time, we didn't know what stars were. We as a people just knew that there was something out there that was separate from the earth, and it was circling around the earth. We knew that. We knew that all this, whatever those little points of light were, they were circling around the earth. And then Copernicus 500 years ago said, no. The earth is turning around the sun, which is just one of the stars. And there's something big out there. It's called the universe, and it's a galaxy. And as recently as when my father was in high school, and by the way, this is my dad sitting on the front row here, Rudi Harst. Please. I was pleasantly surprised to see him here this morning with his friend Don. And I just know that when my dad was in high school, it was taught that the earth was part of the Milky Way. We understood that there was a galaxy. And that the galaxy, so there was something beyond the galaxy in the universe, but we didn't know what it was. We knew that there were possibly a few other galaxies. When I was in high school, which is 45 years ago, I was taught that there were thousands of galaxies in the universe. And then the Hubble Space Telescope went up, and now we know that there are at least 500 billion galaxies out there, of which the Milky Way is but one. 500 billion galaxies in the universe. And it's entirely possible that there are at least 9 universes. I don't know what pocket to put that in. When I try to find some place to hold an idea that big, my mind fails me, which is a good thing. Because my mind would have me believe that somewhere out there, there's that, and then here's me, and that we're separate, and that twinkle, twinkle, little star is out there, and I'm here. But the new science is telling us that the stars and I are absolutely one, that you and I and everything we see, this microphone stand, this candle, that guitar, and Ray and Rudi and my dad are all stardust. And we all come from the very same place. And we're all going to the very same place. Stardust. We now know that everything we can see in the universe, everything we're even vaguely aware of out there in the farthest reaches of spaces comprises less than 5% of what's out there. We can only see 5% of what is mass, what is matter in the universe, and we have no idea what the other 95% is. And there are some people who think that that kind of scientific fact destroys any need for the belief in God. I don't know how that could be myself. Because when I observe facts like that, I am brought to my knees in awe and wonder at the great mysteriousness of it all, and can only ascribe it to some creator who created not only this world, which is so brilliantly described in the Holy Scriptures 2,000 years ago, and 3,000 years, 4,000 years ago, and all the Holy Scriptures of our major faith traditions were written way before we knew that the earth wasn't the center of the universe. And we now have this mind-boggling new awareness that what? Where is the center of the universe? Wherever you are. Any given point that we can find, anywhere in the universe that scientists can point at a point, seems to be the center of the universe. Of the one universe we know of, beyond the 9 other universes that may exist. We now know that all of life is a hologram in which every single atom anywhere in the universe contains the same stuff as every other atom everywhere in the universe. And we don't even begin to know what that means. Except I, and an increasing number of other theologians and scientists on the planet, are beginning to understand at the deep level of beingness that we are called to get beyond our notions of separate identity and to learn to not just think of ourselves as being one with the universe, but to feel it, to act from that place as if truly there is no separation between anyone or anything. Which sounds very nice in the context of poetry and music and Sunday service. It's a little harder to remember when that jerk cuts you off in the left lane going down the freeway. He's mad at him, who is very separate from me. And yet, at the deepest level, Jesus and Buddha and Muhammad and Teresa of Hildegard and Saint Teresa all ask us to let go into the brand new awareness that we are one at the deep experiential level and be willing to live from that place of knowing and to make our decisions from that place of knowing. Oh, here it is. I'm going to ask you to hear this poem again. It's a tough poem. You may not have heard it the first time. I didn't understand it the first 3 times I read it because it was so hard. But for the time of necessary decision. The mind of time is hard to read. We can never predict what it will bring, nor even from all that is already gone can we say what form it finally takes. For time gathers its moments secretly, Often we only know it's time to change. Often we only know it's time to change when a force has built inside the heart that leaves us uneasy as we are. Perhaps the work we do has lost its soul, or the love where we once belonged calls nothing alive in us anymore. We drift through this gray, increasing nowhere until we stand before a threshold we know we have come to cross, to come alive once more. May we have the courage to take the step into the unknown that beckons us. Trust a richer life awaits us there. Trust a richer life awaits us there. That we will lose nothing but what has already died. Feel the deeper knowing in us, sure of all that is about to be born, beyond the pale frames where we stayed confined, not realizing how such vacant endurance was bleaching our soul's desire. At one level, this is about personal decisions, about being willing to understand that which is being called for more in relationship, at work, in the world. But I think at a very real level, our culture is suffering a deep soul loss, a deep depression. I believe that we, as a culture, are increasingly dissatisfied with all the stuff around us because we are called to a new way of being, which is actually the old way of being. We are called to a way of being which is built on oneness rather than separation. I believe our culture is sick and tired of being about just stuff out there and about us versus them and us versus the world, the earth, us needing to dominate the earth and pillage it, us needing to dominate and pillage the people of Syria or Egypt or Ireland or West Side San Antonio or North Side San Antonio, that thing that keeps us separate. That deep inside of us, we understand that the work we are doing about getting stuff out there and making things happen out there at the cost of those people out there so that we can have ours in here, safe and secure, that work has sickened and saddened our soul and the love which we once belonged to. And that we're drifting into this gray, increasing nowhere until we stand at a threshold. Each one of us individually comes to a threshold where we say, enough with that out there already. I choose to come from the inside out, from a place of oneness and moreness. Which is not to say that you can't work for a new house or a nice job or want things out there. It's not either or. What we're called to increasingly is a both and that acknowledges the deep oneness, that acknowledges in the very deepest sense the words that Jesus the Christ taught us 2,000 years ago. You are the light of the world. And if you are the light of the world, and you are the light of the world, and you are the light of the world, and I am the light of the world, we are the light of the world. There is but one light, and it's shining brightly in all of us. And it once needs must be acknowledged. Can you feel at one level the deep hunger for that to be true? Can you feel at another level there's a part of you that wants to go to sleep and not hear this? What's that guy going on about? What's that got to do with me? I just have to go to work tomorrow, and the kids need to be taken care of, and the rent needs to be paid, and I got all. It's all well and good, but how does it affect me? Well, I don't know. I don't know how it affects you. I know how it affects me. It reminds me that it's time for a necessary decision. A pivotal, fundamental choice to come from we rather than me. To acknowledge that, I forget. I get plenty mad at the jerk who cut me off in the lane. I get mad at myself. I get scared, disappointed. Yes. And time and again, I'm called to remember to make a fundamental, necessary decision to come from we, to come from one, to come from enough. knowing that we are stardust, we are golden. And we've been lost in the devil's bargain. At least, that's my story, but I'm sticking to it. I'd like to invite you, and it's just an invitation, because I know this is a group of people who does not like dogma or being told what to say or think. But there's a wonderful declaration of interdependence that's been written coming out of the United Nations Universal Declaration of Human Rights, which was passed in 1948 and has served as an underpinning for much of international law since then. I'd like to invite you to consider reading it with me, or simply hearing it as we prepare for our time of meditation together. We hold these truths to be self-evident, that all life is interconnected and endowed by our Creator with certain inalienable rights and responsibilities, that among these are presence, compassion, and the pursuit of happiness. That to secure these rights and responsibilities, we open our minds and hearts to the needs of others and our own true needs. We hear the sound of the living universe in our ears and add our voices to the song. We live every moment with awareness of the purity and power of existence. And for the support of this declaration, we pledge to each other our love and our breath. For the freedom of the one is the freedom of the all, and the pain of the one is the pain of the all. The breath of the one is the breath of the all, and the breath of the all is the breath of God. With eyes open or eyes closed, I invite you to sink into the possible meaning of these words. A declaration of interdependence. We hold these truths to be self-evident, that all life is interconnected and endowed by our Creator with certain inalienable rights and responsibilities. That among these are presence, compassion, and the pursuit of happiness. That to secure these rights and responsibilities, we open our minds and hearts to the needs of others and our own true needs. We hear the sound of the living universe in our ears and add our voices to the song. We live every moment with the awareness of the purity and power of existence. And for the support of this declaration, we pledge to each other our love and our breath. For the freedom of the one is the freedom of the all, and the pain of the one is the pain of the all. The breath of the one is the breath of the all, and the breath of the all is the breath of God. Breathing into this moment, into the power and possibility of this declaration of interdependence. Won't you feel that you are breathing into the fullness of the light of the world, feeling that truly you are an integral part of the light of the world, for there is but one light, one love. Breathing into the fullness of this awareness. Breathing into the power and possibility of this awareness. Knowing that it can affect the smallest decisions of what to eat, what to buy, where to work, how to work, but also affects the largest of choices, where we choose to stand in this land of the home, the land of knowing. Truly, we are one. Knowing that truly the home of the brave is everywhere on the planet, and that the land of the free is every land on the planet. That we, the people, populate every corner of this planet and beyond. For we recognize that we are truly citizens of the galaxy. Of the universe. And we feel truly this is not a question of being loyal to America or not, but loyal to all of creation. Loyal to our deep sense of interdependence. As we breathe into this moment, we know that our consciousness continues to unfold. That our willingness to embrace the larger story of oneness and interdependence helps create that story becoming ever more true. In all the institutions and laws and ways of our culture and all the cultures on the planet. Our willingness to see the bigness and be the bigness helps make the bigness ever more possible. And now perhaps in your own way, you could make a wish upon a star. Make an affirmation, a prayer that speaks to your soul. An affirmation, a prayer aligned with your willingness to expand your awareness. Twinkle, twinkle, little star. You remind us who we are. And now, from a place of peace and power, won't you expand your wish, your prayer, your affirmation to include the highest good of all? Send forth your love, speak your word of power into the silence. May you, may we, may all beings be blessed by our willingness to remember this. And so it is. Amen.